You still have her asterisk. The rain fell in heavy sheets across the empty highway, each drop catching the amber glow of streetlights like tiny amber jewels. Sarah Martinez sat in the passenger seat of her broken-down BM, watching the water cascade down the windshield. Her designer dress clung uncomfortably to her skin, soaked from her earlier attempt to flag down help. The car's hazard lights blinked rhythmically, a steady heartbeat in the storm. Asterisk beside her, 4-year-old Emma slept peacefully, her small arms wrapped around her favorite teddy bear. The child's blonde curls were still damp from the rain, but her face remained serene, trusting. Sarah envied that innocence, that ability to find peace even when everything seemed to be falling apart. Asterisk, the day had started like any other. Sarah had been the CEO of Martinez Technologies, a company she had built from nothing over 10 years. She had meetings scheduled, deals to close, a future that seemed as solid as the steel and glass of her downtown office building, but then came the phone call that changed everything. Asterisk, "I'm sorry, Ms. Martinez," her lawyer had said, his voice heavy with regret. "The bankruptcy is final. The creditors are seizing all assets immediately." Asterisk, Sarah had stood at her office window, looking down at the city she thought she had conquered. The hostile takeover, the legal battles, the mounting debts, it had all led to this moment. Everything she had worked for, everything she had sacrificed, was gone. The company, the house, the cars, even her savings accounts, all frozen, all lost. Asterisk, she had barely managed to collect Emma from daycare before the repo men arrived. The BMW was the last thing that was truly hers, and now even it had betrayed her. Sputtering to a stop on this lonely stretch of highway, asterisk, the sound of an approaching truck cut through the rhythm of the rain. Sarah looked up to see headlights growing brighter, slowing down. A tow truck pulled over, its hazard lights joining the symphony of blinking amber. The driver's door opened, and a man in coveralls stepped out into the storm. Asterisk, Jake Thompson moved with the calm confidence of someone who had seen every kind of automotive disaster. He was in his 30s, with kind eyes and hands that bore the honest calluses of hard work. Rain dripped from the brim of his baseball cap as he approached Sarah's window. Asterisk, "Looks like you could use some help," he said, his voice gentle despite having to speak over the storm. Asterisk, Sarah rolled down her window slightly. "The engine just died," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I don't have much money for repairs right now." Asterisk, Jake nodded understandingly. "Let me take a look first. Sometimes it's something simple." Asterisk, he popped the hood and examined the engine with a small flashlight. Sarah watched him work, noting the careful way he moved, the respect he showed even for her dying car. After a few minutes, he returned to her window, shaking water from his hands. Asterisk, "I'm afraid it's the transmission," he said softly. "This car isn't going anywhere tonight, but I can give you and your daughter a ride somewhere safe." Asterisk, Sarah felt the last of her composure crumble. The words came out in a broken whisper. "I don't have anywhere to go." She looked at Emma, still sleeping peacefully. "I lost everything today, my company, my house, my savings. Everything I worked for is gone." Asterisk, the tears came then, hot and unstoppable. "I was so focused on building my empire that I forgot what really mattered, and now I have nothing to show for any of it. Nothing." Asterisk, Jake was quiet for a long moment, studying Sarah's face in the dim light. Then he glanced at Emma, whose small hand had found her mother's arm even in sleep, as if sensing she was needed. Asterisk, "Ma'am," Jake said quietly, "I don't know much about business or empires, but I do know something about what matters." He nodded toward Emma. "You still have her." Asterisk, Sarah followed his gaze to her sleeping daughter. Emma stirred slightly, her little fingers tightening around the teddy bear, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Even in her dreams, she seemed content, secure in the knowledge that her mother was there. Asterisk, "The little girl doesn't care about your company or your house." Jake continued, "She cares that you're here with her. That's not nothing, ma'am. That's everything." Asterisk, the simple truth of his words hit Sarah like a physical force. She had spent years chasing success, measuring her worth by stock prices and profit margins. But looking at Emma now, she realized that her greatest achievement wasn't a business empire. It was this perfect little person who loved her unconditionally. Asterisk, I have a sister who runs a small diner about 20 miles from here, Jake offered. She's got a room above the restaurant that's been empty for months. It's not much, but it's warm and dry. And she's always looking for help with the books. Asterisk Sarah wiped her tears with the back of her hand. Why would you help a stranger? Asterisk Jake smiled, the expression transforming his weathered face. Because sometimes we all need someone to remind us what we still have. He looked at Emma again. Besides, that little one's got the whole world ahead of her. Seems to me she's got a pretty good guide to help her through it. Asterisk as Jake loaded their few belongings into his truck. Sarah gently woke Emma. The child yawned and stretched, looking around with curious eyes. Asterisk, Mama, where are we going? Emma asked, clutching her teddy bear. Asterisk, Sarah kissed her daughter's forehead, breathing in the sweet scent of childhood. We're going on an adventure, sweetheart, just you and me. Asterisk, will you be with me? Emma asked, her blue eyes trusting and bright. Asterisk, always, Sarah promised, and for the first time in years, she meant it completely. Asterisk as they drove through the storm. Toward an uncertain future, Sarah held Emma close. The rain still fell, but it no longer seemed like tears from heaven. Instead, it felt like a cleansing, washing away the debris of her old life to make room for something new. Asterisk, she had lost her company, her house, her bank accounts. But Jake was right. She still had Emma, and sitting there in the warm cab of a stranger's truck, surrounded by the love in her daughter's sleepy smile, Sarah realized she was richer than she had ever been as a CEO. Asterisk, the road ahead was dark and unknown, but it no longer frightened her. She had everything she needed right there in her arms, breathing softly against her shoulder, trusting her completely to guide them both toward tomorrow. Asterisk, sometimes losing everything meant finding what truly mattered. And what truly mattered was holding her close, promising to never let go again.